Oh my God, these can pops, baby. These can pops are just not what they used to be, man. That's really unfortunate because I love the can pops, but it is what it is. Welcome to Gavin Games, fellas, for Friday, whatever this is, the 17th of May. We're getting into the summer movie season, such as it is. I have to tell you guys something right off the bat as we get into Gavin and Games. We're going to talk mostly about the video games today, but first let me know if my audio levels are good, and then we'll officially start the show. I think this is the weekend where I officially shave the head. I'm done with this shit. I don't like it. I don't have enough hair anymore. See, I look like an idiot. I've just been busy. Yeah, we had a little drama yesterday on the show. I thought it was kind of crazy, kind of bizarro. But, you know, no big deal. YouTube's really cool about it. You're just like, hey, this happened. And they're like, cool, I'm cutting it out. They're like, cool, you put it back up. Nobody cares. Kids got to try harder. Hello, Kenny. Hello, everybody. Good to see everyone. You're looking forward to Bad Boys 4. Yeah, EP, I hear that movie is great. Even, you know, here, let me ask you this. Because, yeah, the word coming from the early screenings is that Bad Boys 4 is really, really good. I haven't seen the third one. Bad Boys for Life, I think, was the third one. I honestly think, and I don't mean this like I'm being a dick, but I think the same thing kind of goes to Lizzo, the singer. Will Smith has built his appeal over the decades as a... you know, as a badass kind of alpha, take no shit kind of dude. And that's great. But then his personal life kind of kicks in with all of his sort of basically, you know, not that I'm judging anybody, but certainly his personal life as it relates to his wife, and sort of what she's been doing. It just feels to me like it's hard for those two things to coexist now. So now I see him on the screen and I just don't buy it. Lizzo's not dissimilar. Lizzo built her whole career. I love her music, but she built her whole career about being inclusive and kind and, you know, stop being cruel to everybody. And we're all in this together. And then she ended up going off and being one of the worst ones, not one of the worst ones out there, but she's pretty bad. So it's hard, you know, when you build your brand on basically who you're not, and then the truth comes out, that's a hard thing to get back no matter how talented you are. And I think they're both pretty fucking talented. But I will also say that I do hear Bad Boys is great. Let me tell you something. I don't even care. I don't even care anymore. I am so tired. Listen, I'm 53. I know, we know, Jaffe. You tell us every day. I know. But I only mention it because, like, I remember back when I was a kid and the summer movies were coming out. And I remember, like, 1985, there were these movies, like, there was a movie called My Science Project, right? It was like a B movie, or even, like, what's that goddamn thing? Even, like, in the early 2000s, The Scorpion King, right? It was a B movie, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. You really have to be, at least according to the internet, you have to be the best thing ever or you're a fucking piece of shit. Because I watched Madam Web last night and a little bit this morning, and it's on Netflix now. And you would have thought, especially if you go to the Rotten Tomatoes of Madam Web for critics is 11% fresh. And for audience members is like 59%. And I thought it was fun. Yes, the acting, especially, they did something really weird with the main bad guy. Like, the dubbing or the ADR was incredibly fucking strange. And it, to the point that it wasn't strange like weird. It was like, what the fuck is going on? That was bad. There was some super cringy fucking writing in it when it came to, like, the teenage girls and stuff. But it was interesting. Her powers were interesting. It was cool how they showed her ability to see into the future. It was fun. There was a kind of a Ezekiel, if you read the comics, is in it, but he kind of has a dark Spider-Man suit, and it's kind of cool to see that. I don't know. I dug it. I thought it was fun. I recommended it. It's on Netflix right now. Watch it for 20 minutes. See what you think. People just like to pile on. It's really shitty. It happens in games. It happens in movies. Another thing I'm looking forward to, I'm going to see what everybody's playing this weekend pretty soon, but another thing that happens in games is, now this, it may be merited, right? But there's that game that's out on PlayStation Plus, one of the tiers, Rocket Day City or whatever, that has all of the sort of, action heroes, kind of like a B level or a C level Expendables video game. I heard it was absolutely terrible, but and it might be, but I'm going to play that sometime this week, because I've always just been curious about it, but you really got to get out of man, I'll tell you, the internet really poisons the well, man. Did they actually change the line about great power? They did, but they didn't change it like they were remaking it and saying, we're changing what Uncle Ben said to Peter. It had more to do with the fact that she as a character wasn't ready yet to accept her powers and her abilities. And in that, they were like, look, you'll get the power when you want to be responsible for it. It absolutely worked. Eternal in the chat didn't like it. That's your prerogative. You seem to be like a lot of other people who didn't like it, but I enjoyed it. And it's, quote, free if you subscribe to Netflix. Scott says Madam Web was bad. I'm sorry. I'll give any movie a chance. I watched that whole movie. Yeah, I don't agree. I just don't fucking agree. But I mean, it's subjective. Radical Desi, exactly. He says it's kind of similar to games like Fast and the Furious. Folks made it out to be the worst, but it was actually good. Nothing wrong with the 6.5, 7 out of 5 out of 10 content. That's right. Eric Lennon says, our times are limited. Why watch or play mid things when we can watch amazing things on demand at all times? I get it. But and my answer to your question is, in a lot of times, you shouldn't. But there are times, at least in my life, where I like to watch something or play something that feels more relaxed. Like, I don't want, we're going to talk a little bit. And in fact, I'm glad Eddie's here today. I hope he'll be here for that segment, Eddie Torres. But we're going to talk a little bit about skill-based matchmaking later as it relates to Call of Duty and X Defiant and the announcement they just made. But the core of it is if you go with skill-based matchmaking, they're trying every single match to give you a insanely tense, wonderful experience because everybody's matched as best as possible. And it doesn't work for a lot of people, but that's the idea. It's not dissimilar to what Eric is asking. The idea of like, there's only so much time. Don't you always want to watch the best thing or play the best thing? And it's like, you do, but there are times where you don't want something that is challenging and nutritious with quality. Sometimes you just want to turn your brain off and enjoy just being fucking dumb, and I dig it. But anyway, your mileage will vary. We'll see what happens. So many comedy movies, says Daniel, are poorly reviewed and have lackluster audience reviews. I still end up loving them. Yeah, I hear the same. I haven't seen Joe Dirt, but I want to see that. And then there's that new one with John Cena that just came out on Amazon or something. Where John Cena has the imaginary friend, or he is the imaginary friend that they invented or whatever. And the guys have to sort of actually hire him to prove to their wives or some such shit, whatever. People say that's a lot of fun. So I'll watch that as well. All right. What's up, Gravy Biscuits? Gravy Biscuits says, wait, I enjoyed the Eternals as well. Ricky Stanicki. Right. That's what it's called. Have I seen the Diddy video? Yeah, I did. P. Diddy beating the shit out of his girlfriend in, 2006. What a piece of shit. What a fucking piece of shit. Dizzy Death says they may make a film based off El Paso Elsewhere, that indie video game. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. I bought it. I was excited. I played it. And it was fine. It was like a low rent, what's it called? Max Payne. And it had certainly a spirit, a soul to it that was unique unto itself. But then after that, after level 3 or 4, it got pretty fucking boring. So I don't know why people are losing their shit over that, but it is what it is. I thought Eternals was a fun movie too. I enjoyed it. I liked that they brought in Black Knight. People are just, I don't know. People are looking to be angry. Or maybe not. Maybe that's condescending. Maybe they're like, no, Jaffe, I get to like things and dislike things you don't. I get it. All right, let's move on though. But anyway, Madam Web is out. You know what happened today? We're going to get off movies, but speaking of movies briefly, one of my favorite movies, like top 10 movies easily, is the movie War Games. And if you haven't seen War Games, I highly recommend it. It's a 1983 movie, but it holds up. It still plays. It's about video games and computers and hacking and all this great shit. And one of the great characters in it is played by Dabney Coleman. And there was a whole rumor today that he had died, one of those fucking internet things. And he's like, dude, yeah, I'm 92, but I'm not dead, motherfucker. Thank God. No, I mean, yeah, he's gonna die soon. It's not it wasn't like hearing like, oh my God, Taylor Swift was killed, But still, it got me thinking about War Games, and I just, what a cool movie that was to see in the 80s, and still to see today. It's funny, it's engaging. If you haven't seen it, go see it. There was a ColecoVision video game version of it that was kind of terrible. Piago says, I'm watching all the Texas Chainsaw movie franchises just because the game that came out. I heard that they're doing this week, the double XP weekend for that game. And then pretty soon they're introducing a new killer. And I don't know if the killer is from the franchise or they've just made up a brand new person. Jaffe, do you fear death at age 50 and over? No, I really don't. And you know what? That'll lead us into the not the first topic, but a little bit of I need a better word than housekeeping because I fucking hate the housekeeping word. It is so fucking dumb. It's so fucking dumb. But regardless of that, here you go. Let me show you what I'm trying to show you. Here you go. Tomorrow morning, No, tomorrow at 5 o'clock, we're doing I Love the Weird. We're not doing it during the week. I don't know if I can promise it every Saturday, but I want to. I love doing it, but I know during the week I don't want to turn people off who come to the channel for the video game stuff. But once a week, we're going to get into the weird shit. And the reason it just pinged my brain is when you're saying, do I fear death over the age of 50? We got like 20 topics to cover. It's been a while since we did one of these shows. We talk about ghosts and aliens and near-death experiences and gross out shit and all kinds of shit. You know, but it's just, it's very, from a fan's perspective. I don't pretend to have any deep dive data on this stuff. I research it. I'm into it. But anyway, regarding death, there is a physicist and a neuroscientist. The physicist is a relatively famous guy in that world. I think his name is Roger Primrose, but we talked about this ages ago. He was speculating that the brain is conscious because of these things called microtubules. And when you die, the consciousness goes from them back into wherever they came from. And so the mind doesn't create consciousness, according to him, but consciousness is, it's almost like the brain, the mind is a receiver, like a radio signal. And the microtubules is kind of what makes it happen, right? And a lot of people were like, Jaffe, everybody knows that's fringe, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, sure. I believe you. But then an actual heavy-duty study just came out, and it didn't prove that 100%. But what they did prove 100% is that quantum calculations and connections are actually happening in our brains, and they are happening in the place where he said they were when people told him that he was out of his fucking mind. So there's, see, Daniel, that's what I'm saying. Daniel says the mind is more akin to a computer than a receiver. That's what the conventional wisdom is. And then this study comes out yesterday, or it was reported yesterday, and a lot of people are starting to go, ooh, this is not a binary system like a computer. This is more like a quantum computer. And they figured out that you know what, we'll talk about it tomorrow. The point is, I Love the Weird is coming on tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Today, of course, and all week, of course, is the goddamn the Gabbin in the games. And that's what we're here to talk about. And I want to jump into that. First, let's talk about the weekend. Let's talk about the weekend. What are you playing this weekend? I'll tell you what I'm playing. Diablo 4 dropped their patch this week. I don't know why that screen's so dark. Oh, I do now. They dropped the patch this week, and or their update, Season 4, whatever. I've been getting back into it. My biggest issue with Diablo was never any of the things that they fixed the patch or they released the patch for, because I never got that far. The game may have told me this, but I missed it. I didn't know this, okay? But the reason after playing about 15 hours and loving it, I couldn't do it anymore, because every time I got an item, I'm like, let me pick it up. Let me see if it's more valuable than this. Let me see if it's less valuable than this. Do I want to, it became a game about inventory management. And the first thing was Rob the Mod that told me, he's like, don't worry about it. Just go by the color. I'm like, what are you talking about? The game may tell you this, but I didn't see it. So I started playing it with the patch, and I'm like, oh shit. The text color of the items will tell you if it's worth picking up. And so now I'm having a blast, because I'm not obsessing over, oh shit, do I pick this up? Do I not pick that up? So I'm going to be playing a bunch of that this weekend. But, Hades 2, I thought I would play more. It's really good, but it's Hades, right? I mean, it's got some differentiations, but I have no interest in going back to that. I'm kind of debating if I'm just going to stay with Diablo, or should I try to finish Crow Country, or play more No Rest for the Wicked. But let me tell you what your fellow Gabbin and Game folks are going to be playing this week. And I asked them earlier, right before the show, over on Patreon and YouTube. Here's what they had to say. If you're looking for something to play, $6 is playing GT7 with a little bit of Helldivers. Crime Boss Rocky City is right on for Darkness. That's the one I'm thinking I want to try, just see if it's bad as they say. GTA 5 and Twisted Metal is from Wallace, and of course Vigilante 8. Lutron's playing Destiny. Cheeseworks is playing Spelunky 2. I don't know, people are still playing that. Isn't that amazing? People still playing shit long after you've forgotten it as a creator or just a fan, and people are still out there discovering it and enjoying it. Nicola is playing Hellblade 1. I guess the goal prepping for Tuesday when Hellblade 2 comes out. We'll talk about that in a second. Exterminates Fallout 4. He says, cravings after that show came out, similar to Twisted Metal, but no good Twisted Metal game to satisfy the craving. I hear you. Fallout 2 is Cambion. And then Mr. King is Mario Kart RE4 Remake, which is delightfully wonderful. Our good sir, longtime member Lord Garth, is playing Hades 1. And Etrian's playing Street Fighter 6, Apex Legends. And finally, Tits McCoy says, Jaffe, you should be playing that Little Kitty Big City game. I had no interest in Stray, but I did start playing this the other day, and I was like, I don't know how long-term engaging it's going to be, but it is really fun. It's cute, and it's funny, and if you like cats and cat videos and shit like that, it's hard to imagine that you won't enjoy this particular video game serving. It's good people. It's good people. Chan Park is supposed to be on the show today. I don't know if we're going to be like ships that pass in the night. He's the guy that was the lead creator of PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. He also ran that studio. Long storied history at Sony. If he's not on today, we'll definitely try to get him on next week. Okay. I want to show you, hang on now. I just want to read a couple of messages briefly from the Patreon community at the moment. Helldivers or Hellblade? Oh, yeah, I'm in Hellblade. Oh, yeah, Jarvie says, Jaffe, the title says Helldivers 2. Did you mean Hellblade 2? Yeah, I did. I'll change it later. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I fucking come up with some titles that aren't such ripoffs. What do you want? I fucking hate that title, the Hellblade 2 title. Like Senua's sack. Shut up. It's so dumb. It's such a dumb title. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. But if you remember on the Patreon, I got this message from David Seeger. And then I wanted to give you guys a little update on how you could do this. He says, Jaffe, I'm a long time fan and proud Diet Soda soldier. I appreciate it, buddy. He says, quick question for you. I normally catch up on the shows on Patreon or YouTube, but I'm 36, bitch. I added the bitch because I wanted to be spicy. I have a wife and a demanding accounting job. I don't know why he put wife in quotes. I have a wife. I don't know what that means. I'm kidding. I added that too. What is the best way I can interact with the topics of your shows, as I usually can't join live? I would love to interact on topics specifically on the economics and business of games, since I have an econ, finance, and accounting background. Well, I mean, there's not much you can do since it's a live show. You can obviously post in the comments, and I'll respond more often than not. But here's something you can do. If you watch the show either on Patreon or YouTube or whatever, and you want to leave your take on things, I'm going to give you a phone number. Every now and then I'll answer it live. It's a Google number. It's not my real number. But it'll record your message. And if you say something interesting or have something worth talking about, I'll put it on the show. It's called the Red Phone. You can reach it at 619-786-3431. I'm going to give you that one more time, my good friends. And, of course, David Seeger, 619-786-3431. Gravedigger says over on there, he says, I want wins. I love the weird. It's coming up tomorrow, sir. Finally, Cheeseworks says, Jaffe, are you going to be playing Hellblade 2 in a week? Well, I'm going to play it for like, I don't know, 10 minutes. And then if I like it, I'll keep playing it. But I'm going to, look, there is absolutely no data. Well, there is data, but there's not conclusive data to say just because a publisher keeps the game embargo an hour before the game releases, it doesn't mean it's going to be a failure, right? There are, Bethesda, my understanding is Bethesda sort of just does that. They tend to do that from time to time. Microsoft says they're doing it because they don't want spoilers. It's possible. It's possible. But more often than not, if you hold a game, it means like up until, that's an hour. Come on. It means it's probably not very good. The other thing, though, is we're in semi-uncharted territory now, because most of the people playing this game are going to be playing it on Game Pass, which means it's not like a good review. A good review will get more people to play. A bad review will push people away, but not in the way that spending $60, $70 on the goddamn thing would. So maybe they're just like, it doesn't matter, and we know it probably won't review well, and so let's just put it out there. Kind of like what we were talking about earlier with Madam Web or something. It's like, let's just put it out for people to play. And the frustrating thing, I appreciate it on behalf of people who, give their word to people, but the codes have gone out. The review codes have gone out. I certainly haven't, but have any of you guys seen anybody on Twitter or online kind of giving hints like, yeah, I got a code. I can't say anything, but I'm very curious if there's any advance word, because this thing's coming out Tuesday. Of course I'll play it because I have Game Pass, but I'm not really all that interested in it. And that's not because I think it is going to be good or bad, but because I think what they've shown has been so limited. And maybe that's the tactics. Maybe that's the strategy. But for me, the way that strategy paid off was just, like going, I don't really know what this is. I know what it is, but I'm not like, I don't see this and go, oh my fucking God. I'm like, all right, maybe I'll play it. I'll play it just to say I've played it to see what it is, but I don't have any interest other than that. So a lot of the, Eddie T says a lot of the fanboy Xbox accounts got codes. Yeah, no, I hear you. And have you heard anybody talking about it? Is it, have any of the Xbox fanboys said anything? And then, yeah, some of you guys, Dizzy Death and Eternal in the chat are talking about the game Indica that just dropped for console. I have it on PC, haven't finished it. It's pretty short, but I played probably 80% of it. I love it. It is one of my favorite games I've played this year. Maybe I'll finish that this weekend, but it's excellent. So if you're considering it, and make sure you know what you're getting into. It's not very long, and it's kind of horror. It is very arty-farty, but it's really good. It's absolutely genuinely compelling in terms of its mechanics, its writing, its performance. It is a great fucking game if you're into that kind of, walking simulator with a little bit more mechanical meat on the bones and a really well-written, interesting philosophical story about religion and faith and Satan and all this shit. It's good stuff. It is. I don't think it's on Game Pass or PS Plus. No. Okay. It's only $25, so length isn't that big of a deal if it's well done, says Eternal. It is very well done. It's excellent. Absolutely excellent. Nubulac says, do people really care that much about Hellblade 2? It doesn't seem, God damn it, Jaffe, Hellblade 2. It doesn't seem like a game to really move the needle. I think as it fits into the first party puzzle of Microsoft, people care more than the game itself. There are people that absolutely loved the first one, and I appreciate that. And they talk about how it's a wonderful comment and expression of people dealing with mental health and mental challenges because of poor mental health. And I think that's wonderful. But as a game, I don't think it really moved the needle. And I think this is more about, seriously, I want you to think about something. So there are rumors swirling that Xbox is working on a new console for 2026. And, if this game, Hellblade, comes out, and it's kind of like shit, once again, you've got to ask, you know what I think about the management, but it's just like, Jesus Christ, man. But maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be great, right? Maybe it'll be excellent. They've released some well-reviewed games in the past. But 2026, if they come through this holiday season and Indiana Jones and Avowed, and we know Call of Duty now is coming to, or at least the Wall Street Journal reported that it is coming to Xbox day one. There may or may not be a price increase or a different tier. It's all rumors. But this was AP now. This is not just somebody going, I heard Sarah Bond say this, and I think that's what this means. This was, this was Wall Street Journal reporting. But if those games are all good, then okay. Then maybe the worm, as I've said before, is turning, and it makes sense to keep the car on the road with 2026. But if they're actually building new fucking hardware and we do not get a great remainder 2024 from Xbox first party or Xbox exclusives, they better fucking clean management house ASAP before they prep that 2026 launch date. There's another rumor that Call of Duty is going to launch as a launch title with the 2026, which ain't bad because they'll make it. They always make it every year. That would be terrifying. Think about that. For all you say about Bobby Kotick, which is he is literally the devil. He lives in Hades. The guy was able to manage a company that was able to ship stuff every single goddamn year like clockwork. If it turns out now that it's being run by these guys at Microsoft and they start missing these dates, because Phil Spencer's the same guy that launched the Xbox X and S with zero software. But yeah, Black Ops 2 Remake 2025. Yeah, no, these guys are saying, though, Piago, that they're talking about 2026. I don't know what the 2025 will be, but okay. If there's a new tier, doesn't it make Game Pass into a marketing mess? There's already Game Pass Core, which doesn't get the majority. I don't know, Eddie T. I mean, ultimately, Sony's got 3 tiers, right? And so, hang on a second. Eddie says it's a little quiet. I'll do my best. I don't want to blow people's ears out again. I don't think Bobby's a good human, Alex, but I think he was a good executive. Activision is built to make a new Call of Duty and maintain the old. Rarely do they do anything else. Glad Toys for Bob got out from under them. Yeah, but I don't know if you guys saw their website, but there's a Crash Bandicoot mask as on their website now. So it's pretty clear what they're doing. And I imagine it's going to be an exclusive for them. So do I still play video games, Savage? I haven't seen you playing one in a minute. I play them all the time. I play more games now than I probably ever have in my whole fucking life, even when I was a kid. I just don't stream them as much. I do like to stream games sometimes, but honestly, I love doing this show and it takes a lot of energy. And when I'm done with it, I want to just lose myself in a game. But, I will from time to time. Okay. All right. Let's move forward, shall we, with our goddamn lives. Let me ask you this question. Yes, Wayne, I don't finish games. I do not. Most games I do not finish. That's absolutely right. And I'm totally okay with that. Eddie T says, why doesn't Sony buy Crash Bandicoot and get their icon back? If I were Herman, I'd be on my knees begging for him. Well, again, why, why? Because maybe it's not for sale, right? Alex says, Jaffe, you never talk about Nintendo Switch 2. I did talk about it. There's nothing. He says, do I believe it'll happen? Of course. They've pretty much said it's going to happen. They're probably going to announce it in the first quarter of 2025. And, there's going to be, they're not going to be at Gamescom, but they're going to be at various events throughout the year. I don't know if they're one of the people coming to IGN Live next month, but they're going to have, their remainder Switch 1 titles. And I guess they're just kind of waiting for the software to be ready at this point. But yeah, no, of course it's going to happen. It's hugely successful. So, but we don't know much about it other than it's going to be a bigger screen, smaller controllers. We don't know if it's launching with OLED or if it's launching with the way the original did. And, we'll have to see. But I'm not a big Switch guy. I love Nintendo, but Switch never really did it for me. It was cool. It just wasn't my cup of tea. Okay. Speaking of Summer Game Fest and IGN, I guess they're jockeying to be. Hang on, gotta get the bubbly. I guess they're jockeying over at IGN to take over the Comic-Con space or the PAX space, right? It's not bad what they've talked about so far. It's going to be tied into Game Fest, not in terms of financially, but it's going to be happening around the same time. In fact, they're going to do a watch party of Game Pass, of Xbox showcase during the IGN Live. But they've got they said they're going to do a watch party, and then they're going to do a live podcast after responding, and then they're going to bring Phil Spencer on. They got Stig coming to talk. They got a bunch of movies, Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. A bunch of the stars are going to be there. Capcom's going to be there showing off Akuma and new seasons for Street Fighter. It pretty much sounds like when you read the descriptions of this thing, it pretty much sounds like Comic-Con. The difference is it's just going to be a lot cheaper. You can get 3-day tickets still for this for $60. Whereas Comic-Con, you can't even get tickets anymore, and they're definitely not $60. It's like $400, $350, and blah blah blah. I'm debating whether I'm going or not. Is anybody going to this thing, or is it, or am I the only one that is even kind of sort of interested? Like, I wonder if ticket sales are strong or soft, or what's happening with this fucking thing. But I mean, I like the idea of somebody coming in and trying to compete with Comic-Con. Comic-Con's become an expensive, miserable fucking experience. That's for goddamn sure. So I want to talk about, hang on, let me go to the chat first. And again, as always, if you want to put yourself in the show and call in with or without camera, I don't really care. Depends on how pretty you are. Then you can do that. Here's the link. And then I'm also going to read something from Golf Franchise that he just popped in for us. All right. So this, my friends, is the invite. Click on it if you want. If you got something to say, it's interesting. I'll keep you on the show for a little bit. Eddie T says, I never fulfilled my boyhood dream of visiting E3 back when it was awesome. Yeah, man. I mean, it's really difficult to... you don't want to romanticize the past, but there was a window there from like 95 to 2006 where E3 really was a blast to go to. It was super fucking fun. And then it just got absolutely mobbed. And it's kind of like Bukaki says, I don't see the appeal of these types of things. You pay money to be the first one to watch a trailer or something. That's what Comic-Con has become, or E3 had become. You wait in line to go into a booth and watch a fucking trailer you can watch on YouTube. But this is, it's going to have live panels and giveaways, and you can play games. It may not be worth my time, but if some people like that stuff. I think it's a neat idea. I'll probably just stream a bunch of shit from it. Because if I actually, my understanding is for me to go to Los Angeles and then go to this thing means I have to leave, like go outside. I don't want to do that because outside. Dave Goodrich, fellow designer, says the Sony E3 parties were good too. I was never a big party guy, so I never, a lot of people were always bugging me. It's like, Jaffe, can you get me into the E3 parties? And sometimes I wouldn't stuff, and people would be like, they were so awesome. And I'm like, there's a band that plays and you can eat food, and people were just kind of sitting around going, what'd you see at the show? I'm sure there was maybe a room that I didn't have access to where all kinds of crazy debauchery shit was happening, but I don't know. What that was. But yeah, Goodrich is not wrong. Most people echo what he says, which is those Sony parties were pretty good. Yeah, a lot of people really dig that shit, but it was not my cup of tea, I suppose. Okay. I'm reading the chat. Sorry, fellas. It's so much more convenient, says Eternal, to watch the showcases from home. If a demo or beta comes out to give hands-on previews, even better. I agree. I mean, I absolutely agree. I got to figure out... Okay, so here's the question. All right, Master Mold, you're muted. You got to unmute yourself, buddy. Okay, you there? All right, hang on. Are you there, Master Mold?
I'm here.
All right, what's up, buddy?
You hear me?
Yep.
Hey, what's up, Jaffe?
I know, doing a little show. What are you doing?
A little show? Nothing much, just here at work.
Where do you work? What do you do?
I'm a security officer here at the Palisades, Pacific Palisades.
Pacific. I know what the Pacific Palisades are, but that's like a little...
The city? Uh-huh. It's a
just
city.
Everywhere in the city, all over the city.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
All right. Well, that's like a little ritzy area, right? So you don't got any problems mostly up there. It's all chill.
Nah, it's all chill.
I think we got married in the Pacific Palisades. Anyway, what's going on, buddy? How are you? What's happening?
Nothing much, just right here, checking out your show, trying to see what topics we could talk about.
Well, what is on your mind in the world of video games? I'm about to get into a little bit of X Defiant, which launches next week. We're going to talk about Resident Evil being open world, possibly. We're going to talk about PlayStation's strategic changes to what defines success. What's on your mind? What are you up to as it comes to games? What are you thinking about games?
Well, right now, yeah, I want to see what PlayStation's gonna offer. See if they do end up making a showcase next week or in the coming weeks or whatever. We want to see what first-party titles they're working on. That's what I care about the most. I know a lot of fans care about that a lot. So,
Well, I can tell you, I saw something interesting today, which was kind of surprising. Hang on, let me see if I can bring this up to show you. I saw that this was posted about Tom, is it Warren? Yeah, he says Sony will outline its Beyond the Boundaries corporate strategy next week. Sony CEO Yoshida and CFO Tanuki will walk through the company's plans in a 90-minute presentation to investors. This sounds like the thing he was saying when they announced Herman Holst and the other guy as the CEOs, the co-CEOs. This, when he says, we're going to talk to you about it in the very near future, like our future plans, it sounds like that's what he was talking about. So now I don't know if this is actually what people thought the showcase was going to be, or if there's another showcase happening in tandem or at this or in the same month. Have you heard anything about this, or could this be that?
no, usually I'm just also like hearing all the rumors, but most of the time, what the last couple of years they've been doing something ever since during the summer.
Well, yeah,
So
Alex is saying, and I can't confirm this, but he has no reason to lie. In the chat, he says PlayStation State of Play was announced for June 2nd. So it sounds like this will be different on next week.
right,
Beyond the Boundaries is a totally different thing that's going to cover all the different Sony divisions, movies, music, video games. And then on the 2nd of June, we'll see a proper PlayStation thing. But what do we know they've said so far? They said they're not going to be putting out in 2025 or at least
2025.
up to the first, nothing in the franchises. So we're not going to see a Ghost
Yeah,
2, but we might see when Wolverine, I think
Concord.
is, well, I think we'll see Concord, and I think we'll maybe see Fair Play. I don't
Plays,
know
yeah.
if Wolverine, I get the sense Wolverine is next year. But I mean, the only two I really know of, right? What else is there? What am I missing? There's Concord and Fair Play, neither of which I'm that interested in at the moment.
Yeah, me either.
As for single player games, I'm looking at the chat. Awesome Tatum is saying Astro, but yeah, but that wouldn't even work, because if they're saying they're not
Yeah,
putting anything out that's in a franchise, Astro wouldn't work, Venom wouldn't work. But again, I'm just reading what they said. Maybe they're like, well, Venom is going to be called Venom, so it's not in the franchise. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they drop. It's there's so much shit to play these days that, did you see the story that the new CEO of Sony said that over half of people who are still playing on PlayStation are playing on PlayStation 4? Like
yeah, I saw that
they
today.
haven't even jumped to the new hardware. And he's
Yeah,
and what was it? I'm looking at it right now. Matty Piscatella, the analyst who blocked me, don't ask me why, because I'm a fucking great guy, buddy. He says the most played games in the U.S. are Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Call of Duty. Any console that can play a majority of all five or all of them will be fine for most people.
yeah,
And so, yeah, that's probably what's happening. It makes a great deal of sense. And again, it just kind of shows that the industry is changing. And if you look at those games, Fortnite, Minecraft, and Roblox are not technical marvels. Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto 5 are, for the most part. And most gamers or most people who play and pay just do not care. So, but that's what I know right now. But I will be watching with everybody else. Next week, I'll be live streaming the Beyond the Boundaries from Sony, and it sounds like June 2nd, I will be able to stream the State of Play. So hopefully, we'll have you here when we do that. Be safe out there. Garden the very violent city of Palos Verdes. Don't take any shit, and I'll see you soon. Thank you for calling, buddy. I appreciate
yeah.
it.
Sounds
All right,
sounds
man.
good, Jeff. Bye.
Yep. All right, there goes Master Mold. Listen, though, I'll tell you something else. So PlayStation says PlayStation says that this is a couple days ago, but I want to dive a little bit deeper into this. PlayStation says that we used to count sales, and we still do. Sales are critically important as it relates to software, but monthly active users, people engaging in the ecosystem, is now our biggest metric that we care about. And it makes sense, right? Because they're like, people are spending more time in the ecosystem, and there are different ways to engage with their games. I assume what they really mean is microtransactions and PlayStation Network monthly fees make a lot more money than just an individual game selling 20 million copies or 10 million copies or whatever, which makes a great deal of sense. But between that, by the way, and also this is what Robotic Totoki Moki said, the interim head of PlayStation. He said the PS5 has achieved more stable growth as a result of the PlayStation 4 installed base, which saw players carry libraries across console generations. So let me explain something to you. PlayStation is eating the lunch of Xbox right now. It may not always, but right now and for the last couple of years, they've been dining well. But it is interesting to see that Sony is beginning to take pages out of the Phil Spencer playbook. Phil Spencer, I understand gamers were like, we want backwards compatibility, but it's not backwards compatibility, PS4 to PS5. It officially is, but it's more like Steam. Anybody who's coming from a PC background, who's played on Steam, you don't really think about generations. You think about games, and games, as long as they work, I don't play games from 20 years ago, 10 years ago and go, this is backwards compatible. I'm just like, yeah, I bought it on Steam 15 years ago, and of course it still works. And so PlayStation, since 4, they've been moving towards that, just like Xbox has led the charge with that. Similarly, Phil's been saying for years, it's more about the engagement with Game Pass. It's less about the actual software sales. Gun says PlayStation made this playbook. You need to offer up some evidence to suggest such a thing. I don't think that's accurate. I think Phil's been saying this for a long time. And again, Phil's been saying a lot of great things. He just can't execute it. Sony's smart. Sony's like, okay, you have a very good recipe. You don't fucking know how to make anything but a grilled cheese sandwich, but we have master chefs here at Sony, so we'll steal your recipe that you've announced to the world in the press, and we'll actually go cook the shit, man. That's what I don't know. Free Jack says, I love My Science Project. It's a great movie. Absolutely. Cosmic Bandito says, what about the new handheld PS4? Okay, well, look, let's discuss that briefly. I don't think there's what they said. The rumor is that PlayStation is working on a handheld that will play PS4 games. It's not a PS4 handheld, is my understanding. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's a version of Portal. I don't know if that is they're going to be opening up the portals so they can stream from the cloud, so you don't have to be at home or you don't have to be next to a real PS5 or even own a PS5. If they're literally making a fucking handheld device that just plays PS4 games, which is stupid. The one thing I'll say, though, is the only way I think Sony could succeed if they make something like a handheld or a Steam Deck or whatever is if it's not only a handheld. They have to go the Switch route at this point because they have had multiple opportunities and you should be ashamed of yourself if Sony comes out tomorrow and says, we're announcing the PSP Vita 2, and you get excited. You should go in and go to the whatever. What do you do when you're a religious person? You go in the little box and you make the tattoos on you, and you're like, oh no, I want rosary beads, whatever that's all about. You got to go do that because this is a company that not just historically, chronically announces shit like this, but never sets the teams aside that are big enough and multiple enough to make software for it. Whether that's the Move, whether that's the VR, the PSVR 2, the Vita, the PSP, on and on and on and on. Nintendo was brilliant because Nintendo was like, look, these are our handheld developers. These are our, console developers. If Sony's like, no, it's going to be like Switch. It'll run on either. Great. Then I'm all for it. But if they're literally saying we're going to get back into the handheld market, which I don't think they are, and this is a rumor. This is a very nascent rumor. I'm sure they've had conversations about it, but I don't think that this is... there's a good chance none of this is going to come to fruition, but that is the rumor that's floating around. Aradema says, hey, bring back E3 booth babes. I get it. I enjoyed it. It was fine, but the industry's changed, it's grown. It's more inclusive. Look, they had men booth babes too. It's not just that it was about being patriarchal or misogynistic or whatever. It just kind of felt, it's hard to defend the art form as being the next great art form if one of the main ways you get people excited to come see the next big thing in the art form is tits and ass. So I understand the philosophy behind it, but somebody should do a raunchy fucking E3. I'd be down for that. Eddie T says a PlayStation 6 that plays all disc and upgrades them to HD properly would be an instant buy. Yeah, but no one's doing that. I mean, I hear you, but they would have, I totally get it. I totally get it, but they're not going to solve the PS3 problem. And then it just automatically updates them to HD properly. I mean, that's a cool idea, but I don't think that's happening. And I agree with Lutron. He says regarding if Sony is stealing from Microsoft's playbook, he says, fuck it, take what works and avoid the pitfalls. Right. I mean, everybody steals from everybody else within reason. Oh, you can't really steal, but you know what I'm saying. All right, Golf Franchise, thank you for the super chat, buddy. He says, Sony will bring you back to make a new SOCOM. That would be the biggest mistake in the world, not just for Sony, but for the fans. Look, man, you guys know Seth Louisi. He was the executive and the designer for Sony working with Zipper. And boy, when anything went wrong or they made a choice in that game that people didn't like, Louisi was the guy they went after. And I don't know if he ever got death threats and shit like that, but all I'll tell you is, and that was sort of a game he was involved in since the inception. I don't know shit about how to make SOCOM fun. I'd add fucking dragons and shit. Nobody wants to play my version of SOCOM. My version of SOCOM would probably be like that game coming out, Kingmaker, about the soldier that goes back in time, and he's got Apache helicopters and bazookas and machine guns, and he's fighting like knights in armor on a fucking battlefield. That would be my version of SOCOM, which would be cool, but I assure you that is not what people are looking for when it comes to that. Yeah, that game does look cool. I agree. I absolutely agree. Okay, let me bring in, let me talk to Dan T for 1 second, fellas. Hang on, I'm looking at the chat. PlayStation must solve the PS3 problem, says Gun, because the cell hardware and their servers are getting old and they need to find a way to emulate it. I mean, maybe, or you can just go online and emulate it. I don't think that's a priority for them, or anything like that, but we'll see. All right, let me bring in Dan the man. Dan, it's Jaffe. What's up?
Yeah, Jaffe, what's up?
Not much, doing a show. What are you doing? What are you wearing?
I'm wearing sweatpants.
Oh, that's hot. What's up, buddy? What do you want to talk about?
I got a question. So, I recently have more time to kind of get back into video games, but I haven't really been hardcore into video games probably in like 10 years.
Okay.
So, like, as far as what games would you recommend for somebody in my situation to really just get back into something really meaty and quote unquote hardcore?
Okay, well, give me an example of the kind of games that you loved in the past that you're looking for a similar experience.
Well, Twisted Metal, but we all know that's
yeah. I mean, you're not going to get
God of War, Twisted Metal, obviously, not just kissing up to you, but I loved Uncharted, loved Gears of War.
Okay, so you like single player narrative action adventures?
Yeah, but I can play online too. I actually, when I was in college, I used to work for GameStop as a side job, and so I played a lot of different games. I didn't, the only games I really didn't like were maybe like super heavy role playing games, like where
What are you playing on? What's your hardware?
Well, my brother has a PS5, so I have access to that. I also have PC, so
Okay, well, I would highly recommend if you're looking for a great single player action adventure game, Ghost of Tsushima from Sucker Punch, which is a Sony first party game, is excellent. It's sort of samurai and ancient Japan, open world, but there's a golden path, so you don't have to get stuck on it, and it's not like you get bored if you want to just follow the main narrative. That game is excellent, and if you're looking for something like God of War, to me, Ghost of Tsushima feels more like God of War 1, 2, and 3 than God of War 2018, although I love that game, and God of War Ragnarok. So I recommend Ghost of Tsushima. What about you guys in the chat? Anything? Yeah, Eric is saying RE4. Resident Evil 4 Remake is delightful. All the Resident Evil remakes are great. I wouldn't go to Elden Ring. It's way too hardcore if you're just getting back into it. Are you looking for something a little less narrative heavy and something just more blastathon?
I don't know. Like, I just want something where like I could just kind of pick it up and play, and it's like easy to get into but difficult to master. Something that has depth, but it's not so overwhelming just because it's been a while since I've had the time to really pour into a game.
All right. Well, for me, here's what I recommend. If you want single player narrative, go with Ghost of Tsushima. If you don't want it to be open world, Aquamax in the chat, or Akimax, is a great recommend. The Dead Space remake that came out about a year ago is the shit. It is delightfully great.
I've always wanted to play Dead Space.
It is phenomenal. Go get that. I think you can even get that on either Game Pass or EA Play or PS Plus or something. But it won't cost you that much if you just want to buy it. Go fucking get that game. Call me back when you're done playing it. Let me know what you think. But I think you'll love it. It's excellent.
All right, sounds good, Papa Jaffe.
All right,
One
buddy.
last thing, if I may.
Yeah.
What time is I Love the Weird? Because I'd love to call into that tomorrow.
We are doing that tomorrow at 5 o'clock. I Love the Weird. 5 o'clock California time, Pacific time.
All right, sounds good. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, buddy. See you later. All right, there goes Danny T of the Cincinnati Tees. Yeah, Lutron says if you want to shoot shit, get Returnal. Yeah, but the problem with Returnal is it's fucking hardcore, man. He's just getting back into it. Golf Franchise, thank you, buddy. Member for 7 months. He says, if you made a game off the Highlander movie franchise, what character would you choose to be your main, and what would your time in history you'd have your story play out? Well, I've only seen the first one, frankly, and I think if you're making it off the movie and you want that movie to be, you want the game to really, bring in the audience, you don't want to do something that is not when the movie was set, right? So you probably bounce back and forth between, didn't Highlander 1, at least the original, open like in ancient Scotland or something like that, and then it moved to modern times? I would probably just do that because that's what most people think of as Highlander. But Highlander is not really the franchise I would go after, unless the new one that they're remaking it reinvents the whole thing. Because the coolest part of that is if you get your head cut off, that's the only way you can die, right? And right? I mean, that's pretty much it. You live forever as long as you don't get your head cut off. I mean, that's every video game, right? It doesn't, the narrative doesn't necessarily translate into really cool mechanics. I don't think, but I haven't seen it in a long time, so I could be forgetting a lot of really key stuff that you guys are thinking about. Okay. Here's what I'll tell you, though. I want to briefly go back to this Sony thing very quickly. About monthly average users becoming the new barometer for success. What's interesting to me about that is I have noticed it in the last couple of months that right now, Xbox, I am living in their ecosystem more and more, right? Because I am playing a lot of Call of Duty, right? I am back to playing Starfield, and we'll be playing a lot more Starfield when the DLC drops. I am playing, there's like 4 games that I'm spending a lot of time with in that ecosystem. What's the other one? Let me see real quick. And it's like, you know, I'm not necessarily spending any more money than I normally spend. I'm still spending pretty much the same amount of cash, which is just Game Pass. I will be buying the DLC for Starfield. Here it is. Let's see. So Starfield, Call of Duty, Diablo 4 I've gotten back into. And obviously the rumor is they're going to announce a new Doom. I mean, I get what they're saying. You know, it's not that I'm not playing a lot of indie games, because I am. But yeah, I mean, it's a great point. And if that really is what their goal is, mission accomplished so far. I don't know about you guys. I mean, are you doing that? Are you spending most of your time in one ecosystem? The new Doom is going to be crazy. I agree. Awesome says Diablo 4 was cool, but man, the nerfs just turned me off. I only just got back into playing it with the new patch, so I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. But so far I've been really digging it. Okay. Let me go back to the stories, and then I'll talk to Milkmaster in just a second. In the meantime, seriously, somebody go watch Madam Web. Tell me if I'm an idiot. Oh, I know you think I'm an idiot, but I'm telling you, it's pretty good. It was good. Piago says, Jaffe, you say you don't finish games. You ever finish God of War 1? Oh, yeah, multiple times. I mean, I finish the games I work on. Absolutely. But, you know, other games, I just, you know, they wear out their welcome. They just do. Whereas, you know, I'll play the shit out of a game that I love. Like I'm 600 hours into Marvel Snap. Look at this. We've been getting some Elden Ring stuff today. Elden Ring DLC. Right. Darth Nugget says your sister just said she watched it last night and it was good. Right. It was good. It's got some cheesy parts. Prep yourself for it. You got some fucking cheesy parts. The dubbing is horrific on the main character bad guy. The teenage girls are a little bit cringy written, but it's good. It's fun. And her powers are cool, man. I dig it. Cameron says it's dumb but campy. Yeah. I mean, it's not yeah, I dug it. It's good. Okay, look. There's an image that one of the developers from FromSoft tweeted out today. I clicked it because IGN was like saying, or one of the sites was saying, oh, is it a hint about Bloodborne? Because they're like, it looks a lot like Bloodborne. I'm like, oh, I wish, but no. But they tweeted this out today, which like, whatever, it looks like it. And my favorite, though, is then end of the day, as the weekend rolls in, the official Elden Ring account tweeted this out. And it says, fearsome foes of unfathomable power await you in the realm of shadow, right? And it's like, is this a amalgam of a bunch of bosses? Is this the final boss? A lot of people are speculating, blah, blah, blah. But then what I like is that IGN is saying, but some people are saying it looks like a uterus, which it does. That's not the funny part, though. The funny part is IGN, knowing their readership really well, has to actually explain or put this tweet up where someone's explaining what a uterus is and what a uterus looks like. Otherwise, people would be going, what? Is that thing in the back of your mouth? No, it's not, sir. But it does very much look like a uterus. I'm not quite sure if this thing's going to kind of birth something out of its mouth, like another enemy or something. It's kind of cool. Sony owns Bloodborne. We're not seeing a sequel. No, I know we're not seeing a sequel, but maybe there's a crossover, or maybe there's a, you know, they could let the worlds meet for a little bit or whatnot, you know. New scenery and enemies will, where'd it go? Extend the game's longevity. Are you talking about Bloodborne? I mean, this game? Yeah, no, fuck yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I do need to maybe I'll jump on Elden Ring this week and try to fucking finally finish it, man. That would be great. I'd love to finish that game. I adore that fucking game. But anyway, that's happening over in the world of FromSoft. I'm just going to show you this. It's just a little bit of news, just so you can't say I didn't send you out in the world prepared. It's important that you go out there and you know as much as your pals do. But I don't know much to say about it. But they've leaked the Deadlock, which is Valve's next game. Hero-based shooter, 6v6, battling on huge maps with 4 lanes. It sounds a lot like, what is that game from the guys? It's a MOBA, but it's third-person hero been around forever. I forget what it's called. The one they make it in Atlanta. Anyway, here's some screenshots from it. I'll give it a play. It's going to be free. I mean, everything's going to be free. I think it's free. Next week you got X Defiant and you got Multiverse coming back. This is going to be coming, no one's going to be paying for games anymore. But this is what it is. I don't know when it's coming out. It's in some kind of tester. It's not even an open or a closed. It's like very exclusive right now. Jaffe, the older you get, the more bitter you get. True? No, I don't think so. Okay. Yeah, no, if you want to call in, you need to use this, K-Nubs. No, I'm not using the Discord today. I'm using the StreamYard, so I just put it in the thing. But anyway, I mean, we'll see. Valve makes good stuff, and they cancel a lot of stuff. They're kind of like, in a lot of ways, like it used to be with Blizzard. If it ain't working, they'll kill it. They still sort of do that there. But so I'm sure it'll be good when they put it out. Paladins is what it's called. That's right. But I'll tell you something. Marvel Rivals, though, that hero shooter. I was watching people play that. I hope it gets better. I know it's early, but good God, that looks... I don't know. I love Marvel, man. But fuck. Byte says this looks really bad. What looks bad about it? I mean, it's early, and it's a hero-based third-person shooter with MOBA win states. What's bad about it? I mean, it's you don't know anything about it yet. You could say it looks generic, and it looks early, but does it look bad? Why? What looks bad about it? I'm confused by that. You want to play Valorant? I hear that's a little too hardcore, at least for me, Film Gamer, but you may dig it for sure. Okay. But anyway, that's happening if you're curious. But yes, coming up this coming week, we get Multiverses back. I'm fascinated by this. Man, what if it doesn't work? But good, Warner Brothers has made a bunch of boneheaded executive decisions as of late. This is not one of them. It's nice to see them say, you know what? We're not going to kill this thing. We're going to pull it back in because we have the capacity at an executive level to see the potential. And we're going to pull it back into the garage and tinker with it a little bit. We'll put it back out in 6, 8, 10 months, whatever it's been. So we'll get to see if any of that pays off. I played it a little bit. I'm not the kind of guy to play a lot of these sorts of games more than a couple of weeks, but I am looking forward to trying it again. The other thing, and it looks like Eddie T is here, and I'm glad you're still here because I know you have complained a lot about the matchmaking in Halo and saying you hate the skill-based matchmaking. Now, allow me to do my best to explain what this is for people who don't know. It's a very interesting design discussion. So even if you don't like games like this, if you're into gameplay and game design and all that, should still interest you. We won't spend too much time on it. But I find this challenge fascinating because when we were making Drawn to Death, and yes, it was a total failure. I'm not saying we got anything right when it came to that. But when we were making it, there was a lot of discussions about the philosophy between that tension between we want to put you in a good match where people are going to guarantee the best play experience for you, but we don't want you waiting, in a lobby for hours for that perfect match. So skill-based matchmaking is basically, if it's a team-based game, it'll be like, okay, let's just make sure that we get you in a match with the right blend of people that are close to as good as you are. And if there are great people on the other team, let's also make sure that those people are accounted for, those quality of people on your side, right? And the problem with it is, according to people, especially, like I said, I've learned most of the hate for this from Eddie on Halo, because he's a really good Halo player. And he says, well, yeah, the thing is, though, is if you do that every single time you go into a new match, if you carry the team in match 1, you're carrying the team in match 20, because you get split up in order to make it, it's like socialism for video game matchmaking. And X-Define is saying we're getting rid of all that. X-Define is basically the Call of Duty killer from Ubisoft. I played it. I really enjoyed it, actually. The time to kill is way too fast for me because I have 0 skill. but I enjoyed it very, very much. It comes out this month, I believe. But what they're saying is, it comes out May 21st. They say there is no skill-based matchmaking. So here's how they're going to do it. They think it's paramount. Getting rid of it is paramount to having a fun and varied game experience in the long term. Maybe, but you risking a lot, because it says, this is what the developers say. Skill-based matchmaking means every casual game is repetitive, constantly repeating matches that are just as stressful and matched as ranked. We believe casual playlists should be fun, and no skill-based matchmaking is the way to do it. If you want that competitive, every second counts, go out all playstyle, you'll find our rank mode to your liking. So I guess what they're saying is, if you jump in and there's no skill-based matchmaking, the way they're going to match you is simply based on connection speed. So they're going, hey, we're in our casual play, it's all about latency. We want to give you a great experience, even if you're putting somebody in a match with fucking awesome people like Eddie and me, where I'm going to get my ass handed to me. They're betting that I can live with that. Now, I won't. I'll walk away probably. But if this, I can't imagine this isn't what the alpha was, and I had a good time in the alpha. Yeah, right. So Miscellaneous Gaming says people just want to murk noobs all the time. That's kind of the thing. That's why for me, as a non-talented player in these games, it's not really great. But, you know, I know gamers have been asking for it, and I like that they have the ranked mode. But the minute you put a ranked and unranked mode in a game that's not blown up yet is the minute you split the audience, potentially to your detriment. So you really are taking a risk with this. But, yeah, Eddie T says that's better because not every game should be extremely stressful. Right, for you. But if you put me in a match and there's no skill-based matchmaking and everybody in there is tons better than me because I happen to have a good internet connection and they do too, I'm going to wash out in the first day. It didn't happen with the beta or the alpha or whatever. But it's a real interesting balance. And I applaud them for doing it, because I know gamers have been asking for this for a while, that are hardcore gamers. Maybe this is sort of the way they're going to get people to, you know, give them a try that used to be Call of Duty folks. Byte says you should work on your skill. I'd love to. I'm 53, cunt. I don't know what you want me to do. I don't know what you want me to do. I would love to. But, you know, short of, you know, going back in time, and I won that good in the first place. But I'm interested to see this, and I don't know if you guys played this when it was out, but it was good stuff. So it'll be out next week. I think next week, right? So give it a look. Let me see what you think when it comes out. It does say once a lobby is populated, regardless, teams will be balanced using a skill rating system where every player has an assigned rating. It doesn't solve who gets in the match, just who's on each team. So at least they're doing a little bit of that. Jaffe, does the success of Stellar Blade over a woke game like Saints Woke upset you? No, I don't. I like Stellar Blade. This is what people like you, just incredible guys, struggle with. You struggle with nuance. I can like overt, over-the-top sexuality, and I can like crazy violence. And I can say, as I've said ad nauseum, that I would very much, if I were to make God of War again and they were to let me, it would be filled with sex and violence. I can like that and also appreciate that not everything needs to be that. So I'm very happy for Stellar Blade's success. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Well, Doug says I miss the days of Doom and Unreal Tournament where just deathmatch was the king of the hill. I get it. I know. But those are the most popular, especially amongst the young kids, man. That's what the Tekken director came out and said a couple of weeks ago. He said, yeah, it's always about teams these days because nobody wants the responsibility of feeling rotten about themselves. So we'll see. Let me bring in some of these good folks who've been waiting in the waiting room. Milkmaster, I'm going to bring you on first. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, Jaffe? Can you hear me?
Yep. What's happening? What do you want to talk about?
Hey, so I just wanted to go back real quick to the Sony thing with the numbers of how half their player base is still on PS4.
Yes.
It got me thinking because I've been seeing these reported leaks and articles talking about how a PlayStation 6 reveal could be done fall of 2024, which when I'm like looking at how things are, go ahead. Did you ask me?
No, so you're saying that you've heard a rumor that the
Well,
PlayStation 6?
like I saw on, I think it was Digital Trends and then IGN, and they were saying that there were these leaks that people then apparently have put together, and it talks about a potential reveal of September, like of this year.
Okay. Which means if they reveal it, which is weird because they will have just revealed the Pro around that time, but fine. They reveal it and maybe it's out 18 months from them, but go ahead.
Yeah, and so I was just gonna, and apparently even according to more like speculation, apparently based on some official Microsoft Core document they found somehow, is that like there could be they had planned a release date or speculated a release date for it in 2027, which I don't think, like, if that's what they had planned intentionally, like I saw the PS5 lasting for way longer. Like, do you think, like, seeing how things are, like, is that really gonna like happen, do you think, or do you think we won't see a PS6 or anything until like way later? Because I just can't see it happening anytime soon.
I honestly don't know because I don't have my finger on the pulse of the logic for why they release when they release these days. Like I don't even think a PS5 Pro makes sense, frankly. But you know, at that point, so I don't know. I mean, I think I look at how expensive the games are getting, and yeah, I don't know, man. If I'm Sony, I'm going to wait as long as I can, not just because they'll make more money, but because I think they need to figure out their portfolio. Are they going to be able to make more than one Helldivers success story? And if they are, to me, it would seem that the launch titles and the philosophy behind making the new hardware is going to be based on what they think they can actually pull off at a portfolio level. Or are they going to go, you know what, the only thing that we can really do great consistently are these single player big budget games. So we need to make sure that we go down that road. But I don't want to see new hardware for a while when it comes to consoles. I just don't. I would rather, streaming, I get new hardware all the time because I stream most of my games that can stream. But I get people like their hardware, but I want to see these last for a lot longer, frankly. I want to see these out for a lot longer, and hell, there's still over 50% of people still playing the PS4. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Think about that. How can you be thinking about putting out the next great piece of hardware when over 50% of your players are playing old hardware because the games they want to play don't need that sexy hardware? It's like that's got to be affecting your decisions in that room. So I honestly, I'd go, we don't have enough data yet to know what our next move is, but I'm sure they're always working multiple years ahead. I have no idea.
Yeah.
All right, Milkmaster, thank you so much for the call. I appreciate it, buddy. Good talk to you.
Hey, right. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Yep, you too. Wayne drops super chat. He says, Jaffe, you must be proud Twisted Metal is still PlayStation's longest running series. Well, yeah, but ultimately there's a point where if you don't make another one, it'll always be that. You know, when does it just become, I mean, you could argue that Crazy Ivan, which was a launch title for the PS1, is their or I guess it's not a series, but Jumping Flash is actually their longest running series if you don't have to sort of release anything to continue the word series beyond that. But sure, I'm very proud of Twisted Metal regardless, though. Absolutely. Okay. K-Nub's been waiting. Let's bring on K-Nubs. K-Nubs is Jaffe. What's up?
What up, Jaffe?
Not
Glad
much.
I can finally... How you doing, bud?
I'm good. Please don't show me your penis. Please don't show me your penis. Please don't show me your penis.
No. I mean,
did you watch yesterday? Did you see the penis yesterday?
The penis? You mean which penis?
There's a guy who calls in. It was hilarious, and I'm just like, "Hey, you're on the show. What's up?" And he's sucking some guy's dick. And I'm like, okay, it's like fair enough. And I was bothered by the whole thing though because I was like, if you're gonna call,
what a weird way to like bring me on. By the way, for my first call ever. Hey, did you see the guy sucking a guy's dick?
Well, because you're the first guy I've had on today that is visual. I've been very careful because now I can wait and I have to see you before bringing you on.
Giving you the feelings, huh?
Yeah, I'm getting the penis feeling from you, sir. The point being though is I kind of wished he would have stuck around and said, "This is why I did it," or I don't. Oh, okay. So Wayne is saying it was gay porn. Okay, so maybe he was just showing the videos he watches. Either way, I want to dig into that. I want to talk to that guy. But anyway, what's going on, K-Nubs? What do you want to talk about?
Buddy, there's been a question that's been in my mind for a long time.
Yes.
We don't have to make this like a point of discussion. It can just be a question that I pose to you, and then you give your insight. But so a little background. So remember back in the day, games from like the 08, 09 era, like Red Faction Guerrilla, GTA 4, where they had good physics and good like destructibility of environments.
Yes.
Why is it that like now we have so much more power with our video games and our technology? You would think that they would be able to have carried that shit forward, but it seems like they bitched out at some point. Like they stopped doing the destructibility or.
Well, first off, I don't think that's...
GTA 5 had way worse physics compared to GTA 4 or even Red Dead Redemption 1. Like I don't understand.
Okay,
and I was wondering, if you have an insight into that.
My insight into that, I mean, it depends on the genre, but certainly if you look at something like the Finals, which is not doing that well.
Right, and I do understand that there are current games that are doing this, right? Like the Finals. I know there's indie games like that one that's not...
Oh, Teardown. Teardown is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, you can fucking blow everything apart in that game. It's awesome.
So here would be my guess, but I don't know, because I agree it's not necessarily a technical issue for the most part, but it could be in multiplayer games. Yes, you want more destruction. Like we always loved having destruction in the Twisted Metal games because it was just kind of fun to see the peripheral damage and all that stuff. But it was still done in a way that allowed the integrity of the level design to survive. Like if you imagine a Call of Duty level, those levels are laid out precisely to say, okay, this is where a shotgun would be valuable. This is how the flow works in this area. This is the one area that you can really learn the map well to know that someone's going to be expecting flow, but it's a dead end or whatever. The minute you can go in and just start tearing everything down like Red Faction Guerrilla,
it goes out the window.
Within 10 minutes, it's just, hey, let's make it a big open field. And yeah, you can have pieces that don't get destroyed. So part of it's that. In single player games, my guess is that it affects pathfinding. It affects the quality of the graphics because you've got to have a lot of stuff that is interactive and your resources, not just creating, but in terms of what's stored in RAM, is going, yeah, we can make this house look great, and we can let you go inside it. But the minute we have to start creating assets to tear the walls down and have debris and have the physics particles everywhere, it's just a kind of rob Peter to pay Paul thing is right, which is what most of it is.
A lot of shit that I had never considered before, honestly.
Yeah,
like now that I'm like thinking about it, like what you're saying, yeah, it's like, oh wow, there's a lot more that goes into this than the average consumer understands. Like,
yeah, like I don't know if you played Twisted Metal 2018.
2018?
No, 2012.
Yes. Actually, okay. I was very hyped about it. I was trying to get people hyped about it on within my friend circle, and they were like, "That genre's dead." I'm like, dude, it's not that different from a shooter. Like, you're still using two thumbs to make maneuvers and shoot things. Like, it just plays a little differently.
I hope you've cut them off. They're idiots.
No, they are still my friends.
Put them on the phone. I have to tell them something. But anyway, what I would say though is like, for the longest time we had the suburban level that, yeah, you could smash into the houses, but we were just like, it just doesn't look good. And there was a whole effort on the part of the guys out in Utah where they went in and they were modeling all the little fucking furniture in the house and the TVs and all that shit. And then
for what reason? Like,
because
really?
when you crash through it, even though you're not going to sit there and study those pieces, there was a sense of reality, but that took away from other things that we could do.
Do you think it's because like they were sold on the pitch by whoever was pitching the PS2 or whatever, or no, I'm sorry, PS3. Like, yeah, you can see we'll be able to like create like realistic images within a house that you can drive through. Like nobody cares. Nobody's going to see that.
I think what it is, they didn't see that, but what they saw was more fidelity. You couldn't identify it, but I think what it is though is, even though your games, like we got hit really hard with Twisted Metal 1 versus Destruction Derby. And Destruction Derby looked so much better than our game.
But I remember that.
Yeah, yep. But we kept saying to people, it's like, yeah, but the thing is, they're in these little tiny arenas. In our game, you can go everywhere. So we have to spread out the resources.
That's why I didn't buy Destruction Derby.
Right. But the average gamer, though, doesn't know that. They just go, oh, you guys make ugly games. It's like, well, okay, but you know, so there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons. I appreciate the call, buddy. Good to see you again, and I'm glad that's as X-rated as it got. What you just did. Thanks, bud. See you later. All right. Okay. Let me get. I'm gonna get Burrito and Suckru in just a second, but one moment. I'm gonna get J Lord. Thank you for the super chat. He says, unfortunately, I cannot send a link, though there is an article on Yahoo saying Stellar Blade tops PSN sales in the U.S. Well, okay, so I think I saw that article. You may have even sent it to me. In fact, I'll bring it up. Let me, because I was trying. Somebody was telling me, oh, what do you think about how well Stellar Blade has been doing? And I'm like, well, I don't really have any data. The only thing I had been seeing about Stellar Blade sales was that it wasn't. It had dropped out of the top 10 on the games people are playing in your area on PlayStation Network. That's the only thing I was able to look at, right? But I did get this article, just so we can talk about it briefly. Hang on, let me show it to you. It's somewhere in here. But what they basically said, here it is. I think this is it. What they basically said was... Stellar Blade beat Sea of Thieves in PlayStation Network US chart. So tops disc sales in Japan. So in Japan, what they were saying is, where did it go? It says, Famitsu's report confirms Stellar Blade's physical copies selling out in Japan had more to do with a short supply rather than gangbuster sales. So I don't know how it's doing over there. Download chart, Stellar Blade debuted in second place. Sea of Thieves got third. Sony and Shift Up have yet to reveal Stellar Blade launch sales, but the game was Japan's best-selling new disc release, beating Microsoft's Sea of Thieves to settle for second in PlayStation Store's US chart. But then it's saying Japan. So Stellar Blade beat Microsoft's Sea of Thieves to settle. This doesn't even make sense. Additionally, Stellar Blade beat Microsoft's Sea of Thieves to settle for the second most downloaded game in the PlayStation Store's US chart. Okay, so when they released their most downloaded games, I guess it did better. It was number 2 and Helldivers was number 1, but it sold better than Sea of Thieves. So, I mean, it's clearly doing well, but I do not think, and again, I don't have any data other than just the shit we're talking about. But I do not think that Stellar Blade has convinced or has released information to suggest that it is anything more than what you thought it would be at a sales level, which is like a 3 to 4 million success, which is still a big success, but it's not the watershed moment or the bellwether moment of, oh, look, we told you everyone's sick of the woke shit. Finally, we have proof. It's like, well, no, it's a really good game and it's cool and she's hot and people bought it, but I don't think it turned the worm. J Lord, thank you for the super chat, buddy. He says, I'm pretty progressive, not me, but him. And I am, of course, I'm the most progressive guy you know. I would like more games that come out. I would like more progressive games to come out. Is that what you mean? Also, your thoughts on Final Fantasy VII and the difference between Asian and Western devs. Jesus, that's a lot. That's a deep question. So you want more progressive games? There's lots of progressive games. I'm not entirely sure what you mean. If you play indie games, there's tons of progressive games. And certainly AAA, I think you would be hard-pressed to suggest that the Last of Us series is not very progressive. But maybe I don't understand, sir. My thoughts on the difference between Asian and Western developers. I don't really know. Back in the day, the Western devs had a lot more money to spend, and so production value was bigger. And certainly Nintendo did a good job of seeding at least Japanese developers across the board, not just at Nintendo, but Capcom and various other places that gameplay was king. But that's back when I was doing it. I apologize, but I don't really have any insight. Final Fantasy VII, I played a little bit of Remake. I enjoyed it, but I've never been a huge Final Fantasy guy. I get the appeal. I think it's excellent. I think it's wonderful, but doesn't really do it for me. But thank you very much for that super chat, buddy. It's very generous and I really appreciate it, bud. Okay, let me bring in Glass Burrito.
Jaffe.
Glass Burrito, it's Jaffe. What's up, man?
I've seen a pattern recently. I want to know if you a little bit about your insight into this.
Is it red and itchy or is it just flaky?
I put a little lotion on it. I
Oh,
was
you're
hoping that
good.
would do
Most things take care of themselves with lotion. If not, go to
Okay.
the doctor. All right,
I'll
thanks for
use a
calling,
salve
buddy.
next. Thanks, man.
Oh yeah.
All right, no,
All right.
but I was saying there's arcade sports games I've seen are kind of having a revival recently. I'm not sure.
How so? Be specific.
Well, I've a couple of things in particular. One, there's a superstar NBA Superstars thing that Raw Thrills just announced, and it has Tim Kitzrow in it. It's presumably like the spiritual successor to a new NBA Jam coming to the arcade.
It's coming to the arcade.
Coming to only arcade. Yeah, they just announced. Like, if you look, there's a teaser for it. They don't even show what the actual unit looks like. Just like a silhouette. You hear Tim Kitzrow's voice, and it's a basketball rolling towards you, saying, "Are you a superstar?" Yeah,
Is it called? What's it called? NBA Superstars?
Look up Raw Thrills Superstars.
Okay. Let me do that. Wrong thing. Hang on. Let me get rid of the word NBA.
Yeah, I didn't even see an NBA license. There's just basketball. It was a new arcade unit from Raw Thrills, or I mean, I can send you the trailer.
Yeah, I don't see it. But anyway, what about it though?
Well, like I said, there seems to be more and more of those coming out. There's a new Mutant Football League 2, and they also announced there's a Mutant Hockey League coming out. There's the NFL license was given to 2K recently, but they're not allowed to use simulation because that's only for EA. So presumably they're bringing out some sort of arcade style football game. They said they're announcing some new franchise or a beloved 2K franchise coming up at the Summer Games Fest. People are presuming it might be the NFL 2K series. I think it might be the big series that 2K used to produce.
Well, look, I mean, I what I can tell you is, those are the sports games I love. I do appreciate, like the last Madden I played, which was the most recent one, allows you to tamp everything down easily. You don't have to understand everything. That it's just like, let me just play the simple version and I can have a good time with it, which is why I'm excited for the college one. But yeah, I love Blitz. I love NBA Jam. I know that I love the bigs. There have been times since then that they've tried to bring them back. They just never seem to catch on anymore. I don't know why.
I know why. It was because a lot of the times they tried to bring them back, especially with like Blitz. There was the last one was with EA. EA was also the one with NBA Jam, but at least with NBA Jam, they still had one of the original developers on board with that. With Blitz, I feel like they lost its soul. It didn't feel like a Blitz game.
Yeah, but there's a game right now on PSN that you can play on trial. PSN Trials Football Arcade. I forget what it's called. And it's called Wild Card Football. It's with Colin Kaepernick. Right. And it's good. It's fun. And I bought it and I played it for a few days, but nobody was online. And it just kind of died. I mean, what do you think? It just wasn't marketed, or people who want to play football, the vast majority of them just want to play, a sense of more of an aspirational simulation of it, or what?
Well, I think that I think it's the same problem that Back 4 Blood had, where they incorporated a card system into the game, and people were not receptive to that. When they want to play a arcade sports game, I presume they just want to play something simple, pick up, easy to play, easy to learn, hard to master, kind of like that. But with this, with the card system, you have to learn a new card system and see what the best options are. And who wants to do all that when you just want a simple pick up and play game? Like Mario Party doesn't have that for the same reason.
The real challenge is indie games have done this. The problem is indie games, unless they are, they hit just right or are marketed or whatever, no one plays them. And if you don't have a community to play, you're kind of fucked, right? So there's a game, there's a new hockey game that's pretty much a NFL Hits or whatever it was called from Midway.
NHL Hits, yeah.
That you can get on Steam. Nobody's playing it. Well,
I can tell you why. I think I've played that one. CGR, is it called like CGR hockey or something? It's got like an abbreviated first.
I don't remember, but I mean, if you just look up, oh, look at this. So Chan's asking me if we're still on for today. I want to guess, but you didn't call me. I don't know. But anyway, look, I'm with you. I love those games. I'm a huge fan, but I'd love to see them come back, but who knows?
Because we have had beat 'em ups. The beat 'em up revival has been going on for the past few years. I feel like we're going back to some of the arcade sensibilities of yesteryear in some ways, especially with the smaller games.
Smaller games for sure. The thing with the beat 'em up games is you don't need anyone else to play. It's nice when you get them. Like there's a game that's coming out on Steam. It's been in all their Next Fest. It's not called Robo Blitz, or it might be, but it's basically an NBA Jam game with robots, and it is excellent.
Oh, RoboDunk.
Yeah, RoboDunk. Yeah, it's fantastic, but it's only couch play, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, dude, that's gonna kill you. You can't do couch play. Only couch play is great, but if you want to make that work, put it out there where people can play each other any time of day. So
right.
I'm with you. I love them. I don't know how they're going to come back. If they are, I hope you're right. I haven't been to a Dave and Buster's in years, but maybe I'll stop by because Raw Thrills is Eugene Jarvis's company, I think, right? Who,
yes.
Did Defender and Robotron and all that stuff and the Cruising series. So he's excellent. And I'll swing by when it drops. I'll give it a play, let you know what I think. But thank you for the call, buddy. Always good to talk to you.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for
All
having
right,
me.
man. Yep. Anytime, sir. All right, here we go. We got Suckru of, I think he's from Alabama. What's up, Suckru? Good to see you, buddy.
Do I have Alabama in the address? I'm in California.
I know. I'm just teasing.
Okay, I have a question for you, and this is something you can answer because I need a game designer.
Okay.
So, how do you cut stuff from the game? So let me first tell my point of view. I'm a software engineer. We have a different bias. So there are like trains. Let's say you're working on something, Google Chrome. Every 6 months there's a release, and you try to have a new feature. Let's say it's making Chrome flashy, and then you put that in. The testers check it, and they say, yeah, this is good to go. Or they say, oh, I have this laptop from 6 years ago. It doesn't work there. You have to rework it, and you have to catch the next train. So obviously the games don't have trains most of the time, except maybe live service ones. How do you manage those expectations so that when your train launches, there's only one train that's going from the station? It's the best train that you could do.
Just so I'm clear on the metaphor, when you say train, you mean the release of the updated
yes.
code.
Yes.
So every 2 weeks you'll get a new update for Chrome or whatever. You're saying that's the train.
Yes, that's the train. Like every 2 months you get a train, and you have to catch that train if you want your feature there. But if you're a game developer, you release Halo Infinite, and the co-op is not there, and people are going to complain. So you have to cut something from the game. If you put too much, like Assassin's Creed, then people can't just play it, or it's delayed 2 years. But how do you manage that?
Well, I mean, I can tell you how I managed it because we always cut stuff from our game. And to me, it's the North Star theory, which is, as good or bad as I was at my job, one thing I think I was always good at was identifying the essence of what the product was supposed to do, why it existed, what its reason to be was. God of War was, we want to send you on this great action adventure. And everything was a slave to that North Star. So you could do other things. They didn't always work, but you could put other things in there. But ultimately, that core was what you protected, like a junkyard dog. And it's the job in games of the director usually to protect that core and go, I don't have to have all the ideas. All the ideas that get in the game don't have to be perfect, but nothing can harm that North Star. So it either doesn't harm it, but it doesn't add to it, or it adds to it. So that was how we did it, right? So an example is we probably cut 3 bosses out of God of War, and we cut 1 level that was almost complete. We just didn't have the tech to do the special effects. And we could have done a couple of those things, but it would have lessened the adventure aspect because we would have, if I remember correctly, we would have had to have cut variety in levels to get a boss. And to me, going to different places felt more like an adventure than just fighting another enemy.
So is that a limitation of the CD-ROM or something?
No, just time. I mean, sometimes it is, but in the case of those things, it was just we didn't, you can go online and see this level that we did for God of War 1 that had this moving platform. And in the platform, there was chased by a big sandstorm. And it was it was tuned within an inch of his life. It was play tested. It was fun. But then the programmers were like, we're not going to have time to do the sand effects to make it look good. And it went away because it looked awful. It looked like pre-alpha, and we just didn't have time. So we just killed it. So it's how, you gotta do that in order to save the other stuff, right? So that's how we did it. And then, everybody's got a different sense of North Stars. Like I always say, I asked somebody at Santa Monica as it relates to God of War Ragnarok, because everybody was complaining about a section of that game where Atreus and the girl, and I think it's like a yak or some kind of riding element. I didn't even get to it because I was like turned off by it. But I remember asking the person, I said, everybody's complaining about that. Why is that in there? And they said to me, Santa Monica has become slaves to the story first and the gameplay second. And this is a person that was in a position to know. So their North Star was that narrative was so important, it was worth slowing the game down, even though it didn't make a better game. Again, that's subjective, but that's what I felt happened. But for me, even if that thing would have been done and complete, I would have been like, put up a loading screen and we'll have a voiceover and have Atreus just bring him back into the studio and say, and we wandered the tundra for 10 days,
Yeah, those tundras are actually like there's an entire half-finished section in there. You can traverse it after the game is finished. There are very cool things in there, but they're not connected. It's just there,
right?
If you want to do more stuff,
right? But that's how I do it. I don't know if the same thing applies to more professional software like spreadsheets or banking things or whatever it is you might do, but I imagine it's the same though. If I worked with the first guys I worked with in 3D were the Evans and Sutherland guys who spun off to do Twisted Metal, and they were doing military simulators, and that's shit that if they get it wrong, people die, right? I mean, this training
that's
pilots.
Different kind of software.
Well, yeah, but there was still in the
critical
contract. It's like, this is our main reason we're doing this, right? Which is we have to be an accurate simulation up to the ability of our skill. And so I imagine lots of things were removed and cut in service to that North Star. But that North Star was obviously very different.
In such an engineering project. It's very different and much more stressful. You have metrics you have to meet, like the fourth digit of this calculation should be correct. And if it's not correct, you set up a meeting and try to explain why you're missing that fourth digit of that calculation. But yeah. All right. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, of course.
This was very informative. Thank you.
Anytime, buddy. Good to talk to you again. See you soon. All right. Let me bring in Lutron. Lutron, it's Jaffe. What's going on, man? Lutron. I'm just burning doing the Lutron dance. Come on now.
Yo, Jaffe, what's up, bro? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I think you have a delay.
Nah, I've got a terrible echo, man.
Okay, well, what's going on?
Hello.
Ask if I don't know if the audience hears your echo or not, but if they don't, oh yeah, well, go ahead. What's
not
going
gonna
on?
Work, dude.
Well, just what do you want to ask, and I'll hang up and I'll answer your question. No one hears an echo, but okay, yeah, it wasn't working for me. It's the same way yesterday too. I wonder what that's about. MC Hammerpants says prioritizing narrative over gameplay in a God of War game is not good. Well, I mean, again, I agree. I'm with you, but it is subjective, and a lot of people love that game, and I believe it did really, really well. So, but for me, no, that's not what I'm about when I come to any game. It's certainly not that game. Yeah, Lutron, we weren't hearing an echo. That sounds like it's on your end. Hopefully we can get that worked out. I'd love to know what you have to say, what you were wanting to ask about. Okay. J Lord, thank you for the super chat. He says, I meant to say Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, what my thoughts were. Yeah, it's like I said, I appreciate that. It's just not my cup of tea. Nothing's wrong with it. I just, I was playing Final Fantasy Rebirth a month ago. And it was very fun and very impressive, but it just didn't stick with me enough to make me want to come back to it after a couple of times. All right, well I got other topics, but I'll save those for Monday's show, 5:00. What do you guys want to talk about at this point? I'll talk about whatever you want, then we'll wrap it up. Question says, Geezer Drift. I don't know. He says, I know you said putting games everywhere is great for gaming, but what about food? What would happen if McDonald's put the Big Mac and Quarter Pounder on the Burger King menu? Would it slow down the amount of people going to McDonald's? Yeah. I've never been opposed to exclusives. What I've been opposed to, or not even opposed to, but what I've said is I'm looking forward to streaming because then it will be like movies. I don't need to buy a new TV to watch Fallout. I might need to subscribe to Amazon, which I do. Or if I can't afford Amazon and Disney, I might need to cancel Disney for a month and then go subscribe to Prime for a month. But I don't have to buy a new television. That's all I was ever fucking saying. I'm all for exclusivity. I mean, if you're going to be a capitalist, society, you got to have reasons to differentiate in order within, at least the customer thinks it's different in order to get people to buy your shit over the competition. So, I talked all about the AC controversy yesterday. I don't like or not like what they did. I don't care. I think, I think the ninja chick is hot. I mean, she's semi-hot, but she's a ninja and she's Asian, and those are pretty hot to me. And the dude is cool. I don't really, I really think it's a ridiculous. I think more than anything, it's a racist Rorschach test, frankly. If you really have a problem with that, I think there's probably some racism going on deep down, because what's the problem? You got tons of fucking Asian characters in these samurai games, pretty much every one of them. And they're putting one out now that isn't that. Who cares? Chan! Okay, so Chan, I did send you an email, but I didn't get a confirmation, so I didn't know. Are you... I'm fried now. There's no way I can do an interview with you now. Are you free to come on Monday or Tuesday of next week? Chan's an Asian guy. He can give you his opinion next week, too, if he's free to come on. But yeah, Chan, no, I guess we just kind of crossed paths. But I wrote you before the stream, said, hey, are we confirmed? But I didn't hear back. But if you're on, okay, good. Okay, so he'll come on. I'm going to bring you on right now, though. Let's just talk about the Assassin's Creed thing as an Asian fellow. Here's the link, Chan. Click on this and come on in. At least we can give everybody an intro to you, and then we'll do a proper interview next week. But I want to because a lot of times people talk about this, and they're not Asian or they're not black, and so I don't know. What do I know? But my girlfriend says 7.6 is Japanese and she likes it. Yeah, what's the problem? To me, says Forev, the real Assassin's Creed controversy was the PSP game. Liberation came out, you had a black protagonist, but she was voiced by a European woman. Well, European women can be black. So a black character was represented in the game, but the person getting paid was white. She's white or she's European or she's both. I didn't say Chan was Japanese. I said he's Asian. Awesome Tatum, absolutely. I've been playing Crow Country. I like it. I'm at the puzzle in the submarine right now, though, and I'm having to do math, which I don't like. I really got to oil this chair. No, 7.6, I'm not asking if you're white. I'm asking if GZDR Forever says that it was voiced by a European woman, and he's automatically assuming that she's white because she's European. Okay, Chan, we'll do next week. I'll send you an email Sunday. Let's schedule it. But yeah, I mean, I don't see the big fucking deal. It's a black samurai, even if he wasn't based on some kind of actual historical figure, which he was. Who gives a shit? I mean, he looks cool. He's a big fucking samurai. What do I care? Seriously, what do you care? It was for forced diversity, though. So what? You don't know that. You're assuming that. And even if it was, you don't know anything about how entertainment works. I don't mean to be a dick, but I'm going to be a dick. Okay? You know how much forced shit is in games and movies and TV? Whether it has to do with diversity or not. executives want to put their girlfriend in the movie. Or this comedian makes more money, but he's not as funny as that comedian, but we're going to bring this guy in. There's a million reasons people do shit when they put people in movies or design characters. You live in this fantasy world that suggests that all of this creative commercial product is made in this pure kumbaya kibbutz vacuum where every choice that is made comes from the purity of one artistic vision. And that is so much horseshit that I don't know where you got this crazy idea, except maybe from PR of video games where it's like, oh, my vision. Who the fuck knows? I'm bringing Geo on. He's wearing sunglasses and he looks like a guy who doesn't take any shit. Buddy, if I see your fucking dick, I swear to God, I am going to send a fucking monkey to your house that will throw his own shit at your fucking head. All right, here we go. This is Geo. Geo, it's Jaffe. What's going on, buddy?
What's up?
Doing a show. What's up with you?
Not much here, just enjoying.
What do you want to talk about?
You're like upset because people flash. You see this?
I don't know what that is. What is that? Kosher OG. Oh, they make kosher dope?
Did you see this?
I see it, but I didn't know it was like the rabbis have to come and bless your weed.
I don't understand that either.
I have weed, but I've never had kosher weed. Mine's over there. Here's mine. I'll show you mine.
You've had the legendary OG Kush, right?
Yeah, I know what it is. I don't know what Jungle Boys is. I don't know weed all that well, but I like weed. Like
Kush is up.
In fact, Chan, who's coming on next week, Chan's the guy who he initiated me or ushered me into manhood with my first weed. We were at a Sony party, and he had this giant bong of a Diet Coke bottle, and it was fucking it was bigger than that, yeah. And this is mine though. I got the Gelato S'mores hybrid. Tastes like s'mores.
Oh wow,
it's good shit. Oh, we're talking about that next week, Chan. You goddamn right. I was at Linda Joe's house. She was one of our producers, bowing to her television set. But fuck you all, because I saw the divine in the television set. I saw the Lord our God in the goddamn TV set. So what's up, Geo? What do you want to talk about?
I wanted to get your opinion on NFT games. Like, why is it? What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you. Let me start by saying, I mean, I've never understood the NFT thing. And I'm not a super smart guy when it comes to tech, but I'm smart enough to know that I should be able to understand the value, and I have yet understood the value. Now, I saw something today. There was a company that has just gone live, and their whole thing is, I mean, this is the stupidest fucking thing in my opinion. Their whole thing is, we are going to make weapons and gear that go from different games to different games. And we can do that because it's on the blockchain or whatever. And I'm like, buddy, you can do that with or without NFTs and Web 3.0. You could always do that. The problem is, you're not going to make an AK-47 for Call of Duty and have Ken and Ryu using it in the next Street Fighter. Games aren't made that way. It doesn't work that way. Hell, when we have Chan on next week, he led a fucking studio that made a fighting game. Ask him how easy it would be to take a weapon from another game and go, oh, put it in my fucking game. So, I don't get it. I don't see the value of it, but I know there's lots of smart people that seem to be all into it. So, I don't know. What do you think about them?
I just think, from what I've played, nobody has made anything that could compete against video games. In order for an NFT game to come out and be successful, it needs to get everybody by surprise, shock the world. Like, wow, they make it something that's worth investing in.
Yeah, if it's a great game, it's a great game. And then the business model, as long as it's fair and there's no friction to get into it, people will deal with it. But nobody plays a business model, or at least consciously. They play a game. And so, maybe that'll come. But right now, no.
Yeah, that's the problem right now.
What are you doing? I need your undivided fucking attention, Gio. I feel like this. Is this what a lady is like when you take her out to the Olive Garden, the fanciest restaurant in the world, and she's like, "Oh, Gio, I want to tell you about my ballet class," and you're just like fucking playing with your fucking Superman towel like a fucking glasses wearing wannabe Vin Diesel motherfucker. What is happening, Gio?
It's super hot over here,
I
Miami.
don't give a fuck. I need to be the center of your universe.
At night, you know what it is to be even hot at night.
Where are you right now? What part of the world?
Florida. That's where other people vacation where I live at.
Where are you? What part of the world?
Florida.
Florida.
Yeah.
Did you have an eye doctor appointment today? Are your eyes dilated? Your pupils dilated?
No.
Is it daytime there? For some reason, the sun is working itself backwards across the globe?
Nah, I just like wearing glasses.
Are you fucking out of your goddamn mind? Let me ask you this. Do you like women or men?
Women.
Okay, do the women see you with the sunglasses inside and go, what the fuck is up with this Yahoo? Or do they go, I'm going to fuck that guy?
Over here in the club scene, yeah, everybody's at night wearing sunglasses.
Are you in Miami or what part of Florida?
Miami. Yeah.
So is Miami, I've never been to Miami. I've been to Florida all the time when I was a kid for spring break. But is it as crazy in Miami as they say?
Yeah.
Like really fun and the clubs are great and the drugs and all that shit?
Yeah, like over here, it's a party scene. Like it's fun all the time. You go to yesterday. I was at South Beach, and I went all the way towards the Eden Rock, and it was hot. It was super. I ended up ordering a drink. And it was hot. Like a lot of people were there. People just the whole and I went towards the area. I don't know if is it Eden Rock, the place where they have.
Yeah, it's weird. I've gotten bored now. But listen, let me ask you another question. So, do you think when Pitbull became Mr. Worldwide, did that leave a vacancy for Mr. 305, or out of respect, has nobody competed for that?
Well, I don't know. Now he's Mr. Worldwide. So
yeah, but who takes over Mr. 305?
I guess someone else does. I'm gonna have to carry that torch then, right?
You should do that, but you have to say "Dale," whatever the fuck that means.
What was it they said?
That's what he says. I don't know what it means. All right, buddy. Gio, thank you for calling, buddy. Have a great weekend. Be safe out there on the streets of Vice City. I appreciate you calling, man.
Hold up, I want to say something before.
Okay, all right, go.
So, Saints Row. Look what happened to it. Look at Stellar Blade. Like, I feel like the game. I just want. I want one more thing before I go.
Yeah.
Hold up. You know what ChatGPT is, right?
I love ChatGPT.
All right.
Are you showing us a penis?
No, it's ChatGPT.
Hello, ChatGPT. Good to talk to you.
Could you repeat what you?
The most recent Saints Row game has faced a lot of criticism for several reasons, leading to a perception that it is lame. One, tonal shift in character design. The reboot's attempt to appeal to a younger Gen Z audience with its new characters and humor did not sit well with many fans. They felt that this shift was a departure from the original game's grittier and more authentic tone. Two technical issues. The game has been criticized for having...
Okay, why are you playing that, though? What about it? I'm aware of all those criticisms.
...significantly affected the gameplay experience, frustrating players, and detracting from their enjoyment of the game.
But what is the point, though? Why are you playing that? Oh, you're high as a kite. High as a kite. Enjoy that, baby. It's the last place that humans have in this total society of the 1% that we can escape the horse shit that we have to deal with every day. All right, buddy. Have a good weekend, all right, Gio? Be well, sir. Goodbye, ChatGPT lady. Look, I mean, I don't know what you want. Tell me about Saints Row. I liked it. It was fun, but I get it. I get it wasn't the same tone and people didn't like that. I didn't think it was a bad game, but I get it wasn't a game that a lot of people were looking for. Patches, come on now. Patches, it's Jaffe. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, Jaffe. Just want to say big fan.
Thank you, man.
I'm kind of curious with the, like, I've been going back and like watching some of the more recent streams. I'm kind of behind on everything. But like talking about like, you know, woke is like destroying games and especially this Assassin's Creed thing. It's like and the 5-hour one that you guys all had in here, like P Turtle and everybody, like I was watching that and listening, and some of it kind of got like sidebarred into like the movie industry as well. And I see a shitload of movies. Like I go to the theater every other week probably. And I don't look at anything before I go. I just pick something and go and watch it. Right.
Okay.
So not everything is great, you know, it's same thing with games. Like I just blind buy, play it, see how I feel about it. I don't like to like, cause I just want to approach a game or a movie.
Okay.
And feel how I feel about it. Right.
Okay. Fair.
But that's the thing is like when you start doing that, you kind of like stop looking at them as like not necessarily even like genre or anything. It's like a perspective, right? So it's like you're getting a perspective from this movie or this game. So you kind of stop thinking about like, oh, it's woke or like forced diversity. It's like, dude, it's just they're just telling you a story. It doesn't really like. I just kind of find it odd that when they brought up Last of Us 2, and they're like, well, the issue is there was too much of it, right? There's the lesbian main character. There's the bi girlfriend who gets pregnant from the Asian dude. There's the trans person that's in the other, you know, faction.
I got it. Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah.
So it's like it was too much. It was just too much for people to handle. Okay, so what exactly is the problem with the historical black person in the? That's just one character. So
well,
like,
okay,
you know
so,
what I mean? Like it just seems
yeah,
kind
okay,
of like
so
a,
here's what I'll say. I think when like Vitaphone's a guy who watches the show. He works in the movie business. He called in. I think his point, and I'm a fan of The Last of Us 2, and I'm a progressive guy. There's nothing about that game that bothered me at all, other than there were some pacing issues that I did not like. But when he articulated his point, which was whether you like or dislike the content in that game as it relates to a progressive worldview, if you are going to put that much of it into a game, you do need to be aware that the majority of your audience, or at least a large percentage or a meaningful percentage of your audience, is not where you are. And in that, you may want to either, depending on if your goal is to educate, you may want to pull back a little bit because, you know, it's going to be like a fire hose of change for people who aren't used to it. Or that may have been your goal. I think that's a very valid way to have the discussion about this topic. And I also talked to a PlayStation programmer on yesterday's show, and he said, he's like, yeah, it's not that we have an agenda that comes down from Scott Rhodey or Herman Holst. It's that these are the people that work in video games. You have people that are really smart and educated and live in cities, and if you do that, you tend to be very open to a lot of other people and other people's ideas. And it's not an agenda. This is just the people who make your games. But there are other people who make other games. You can play those. So I think those kind of discussions are fine. It's when people call in and say things like, oh, it's woke and it's forced diversity and it's crap. And they can't really articulate. And I think they don't want to really articulate because what they don't like, I think not all of them, some of them just can't articulate it. But a lot of them are responding to something I think deeper, whether it's a fear of change or, a sense of the black man, the gay man, the Muslim woman is coming to take your job. Whatever it is, it seems to be hard for them to really have that conversation. And I get it. But I think I think if all you're doing is complaining about something being woke, but you don't really articulate it well, like Vitaphone or this programmer, then it's hard to really engage in a real conversation with you about it.
Like, do you think that, and again, I don't really know much of anything about this Assassin's Creed game either, other than people are upset about this character. But so I don't know if it's the main character or a side character or whatever. But do you think that even if that character's in there at all, like it's not the main character, like would they still have a problem?
Oh yeah.
With what I mean? Like that's
sure.
kind of where I'm at. It's like, what are you really upset about? It's kind of weird.
I think the one, like I said, I get it. I mean, I think even if that were the main character, I wouldn't care.
Right.
Why would you care?
Yeah.
It's a fucking fantasy game, and it's not like you're playing some historically accurate documentary interactive thing from the Smithsonian, and you're like, dude, I'm getting wrong information. I have a final coming up on Tuesday, and I'm using this to cram for the essay or something. It's a fucking video game. It's a sci-fi video game.
Like if you were to create a game about something, doesn't that sound like the most interesting motherfucker to make it about? Like a black guy in feudal Japan as a samurai? Like doesn't
I mean,
that
it depends. It depends. If him being black in ancient Japan is part of the narrative, whether it's about him being treated poorly or people are confused or whatever, that wasn't represented in the trailer. So I just kind of look at it and go, he's just a guy.
Yeah, and I guess I just come back to like that. That sounds like a unique perspective to me. Somebody that's kind of like, or could be perceived as I don't even know if that guy was Japanese, like was he born there? I have no idea, but it just seems like it'd be a neat perspective, because it's unique.
He wasn't born there, but again, it kind of doesn't matter because he's
right. I'm not saying it does. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but no, he was not born there, but historically, but I don't know. I just think. I think the only thing I can think of maybe that hasn't been brought up, and maybe this is the thing that bothers some of them. There is I don't know if this is true, okay, but I've heard this as a sort of an issue as it relates to race relations, certainly in the South back in the day and blah, blah, blah. I can't speak to this with any education, but the idea that white men are threatened by black men in terms of, they're going to steal our women, or the media portrays black men as cooler. Like, there's I'm not saying we don't have white men that are cool in movies and video games and all that, but there's that sense of like, I don't know what the word is, but what was the guy's name? He was a football player, became an actor in black exploitation movies of the 70s. That whole kind of like badass motherfucker it does travel better in media, at least in terms of box office, with black dudes. Maybe they're insecure about it or something. Maybe there's kind of like, end of the day, it's got nothing to do with anything other than every time you put a big, cool, buff black dude who's the hero, more people get that narrative, and I feel worse about myself. I don't fucking. Somebody in the chat says OJ. Yeah, no, you fucking idiot. But yeah, Carl Weathers is a good one. Carl Weathers got paid more to be in the goddamn Predator. He was a bigger star than Schwarzenegger at the time. Not a bigger star, but he's a better actor. But anyway, I don't know what it is, man. I really don't like being mean to people, and people who feel this way. I like to be sympathetic as long as they don't hurt other people, and try to understand where they're coming from. But if you just take what they're saying at face value, it just sounds fucking racist to me.
Yeah.
And I
just don't know how else to boil it down. I mean, I don't like that answer. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like that most likely is what it is. But all right, man, I'll let you go. Thank you very much.
Good to see you, Patches. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Anytime. El Wasveld says, God damn, I got you live, Jaffe. Greetings from Belgium. Good to see you as well. Let me ask you something. The Belgian waffle, is that really like you guys are awesome at that? I don't know. Listen, here's the deal. That has been Gabbing Games for Friday. I want to talk to you briefly. Tomorrow at 5 o'clock, we're doing I Love the Weird. I'm going to try to do that as often as I can because I know certain people like it, but it's not the main part of this channel, but it will be on Saturdays. One of the things we're going to talk about tomorrow briefly, I Love the Weird is a show that we talk about, paranormal shit, UFOs, UAPs, ghosts, serial killers, freaks of the week, all that shit. I love that shit, man. I've always loved that shit. The point being, There he is right there. This is our very own Master Luke doing the great art. The point being, one of the things we're going to be talking about tomorrow is something called the Gateway Experience, which I was really heartbroken about this because for the longest time people had pitched this thing as a CIA PSYOP for out-of-body projection that actually works. And then I started doing more research. And I'm so bummed by what I found. So we're going to be talking about that and a lot of stuff tomorrow. We're talking about the UAP stuff happening in Congress. It's going to be fun. So 5 o'clock. Also, I want to remind you, if you're interested, like this stream, subscribe to this channel, consider a membership. We're doing Lunch with Jaffe next week. That's for members only, either here or over on the Patreon. In the meantime, that's it. Have a great weekend. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow. If not, I'll see you back here Friday, 5 o'clock. Make sure you're wearing your best makeup, your high heels, and all the stuff that you know I like. I would appreciate it. All right, fellas, that's it. All the super chats, thanks. Members, thanks. Lurkers, thanks. I appreciate all you guys. A lot of fun. Callers, thank you very much. Chan Park, we will have you on next week, and we'll keep rolling. All right, see you guys. Everybody be well. Be safe. Bye. No reason to play that sound at all. I just wanted to.